All right, so I renamed the last video into the thing about spinning up the VM, and now we're going to try to launch the stack. All right, so we need to copy over our the contents of our git config and our config.sh. So let's take a look at the git config. Right, so this basically says, hey, this is my settings here, and it's also the credential helper has been set for GitHub and Gist to clone and with the auth helper that's used by the GitHub CLI, and then the auth is stored in this .config.gh folder. So we're going to grab that as well. So .config.gh and .getConfig, we're going to create a tar file out of that. The tar file will be output to standard out, and then we'll pipe that output into the a tar file or into the extraction end on the other host, right? So now if we SSH in, we'll see. So just run the SSH command. Let's see that the .config is there, and the interesting, it created them as a different user, so preserve the user config. So okay, so let's do user add -m tbDEX Johnny. Okay, so let's add a user, and let's do cp.sh authorize keys home tbDEX Johnny.sh authorize keys. So let's copy that in. Make that directory first. Makedir. So we call makedir and we pass it dir name on whatever the last thing was, and then we can go ahead and copy that over there, and then we can go ahead and copy over the git config as well. And we can go ahead and copy over the config.gh directory. We need to do cp-r config.gh to make dir the config directory first. Okay, then we can do chown tbDEX Johnny -r home tbDEX Johnny, and now if we look at all the files, they're all owned by me. So now we should be able to try to SSH into the system with my key. And okay, we're in. Great. So let's do real quick. Let's do sudo usermod ag tbDEX Johnny, or sudo tbDEX Johnny. So this says, or actually we're already root. So we just say modify the user, add a group, the sudo group to tbDEX Johnny, the user, and now I'll have sudo. And then we're also going to do, we're going to set the shell to be, we'll do a command substitution. We'll do which bash, and that way when I log in, the shell will be bash. So let's just dump those commands real quick. Here we do okay. Okay. We have user, add a non-root user with sudo rights, with root privileges, root/sudo privileges. All right, and then copy the files into that user's, create a non-root user with sudo root/sudo privileges and their own home directory. Okay. Copy the files into that with the user's home directory. Chown it. Ensure the files are owned by the user and not root. And okay, those files with ownership info via ls to verify. Okay. And then we update the VM. And install the tools that I usually use. The tools that, oh, actually, where's my development environment set up? New box bring up. Fuck you. Oh. Keep the local version currently installed. Okay, so we should have run this with this environment variable so that if you run it with this environment variable, then so SSH now leave the root session, log back in as the new user, install Dolphins. Okay. Okay, now we need SSH in as me. All right. Okay, so okay, actually let's do so let's actually move this into the do as root section. By adding some GitHub package repo to OS. Okay. So alright, so now we've installed the GitHub CLI. Okay, so now we can SSH back in as me, and we can find the dot files. This does not go blind. Okay. Okay. Let's run these commands. Right, so we're setting the git config, so we do git config -- global user.name and then the name, and then we do git config -- global user.email and then whatever your email is, and then we clone the repo, and then we cd into it, run the install, which just does a few little plugins. This is just my personal dot files, and then this is how I organize them: is I create a new branch that's tailored to that system. Okay, so look, okay, so here something went wrong. So it's asking me for my username. So okay, ghauth. So it can't access the config.gh directory. So what happened? I thought we copied it over. Okay, so let's actually, what we could do is we could actually just not bother with that. We'll do it over here. Leave the root session. Configure Git by copying over creds to new user from the following on your local machine. Then log into the VM via SSH as the new user. Okay. And this command needs to be that. Okay. Try that. Now let's try. All right, so that branch reference was gone. Let's see if it lets us push now. All right, great. Okay, so now SSH-t Emacs. Okay, so this is the thing that I use for schema. So what we're going to do is we're going to do command Python. Okay, so usually I record the local terminal session, but what we'll do here is SSH into the remote machine and record the remote terminal session. Right, so we just paste the SSH command in front of that, and we add a -t, which says allocated terminal, please. A PTY. So then, okay, so then we're presented with all this crap. Okay, so, okay, SSH back into close, allocate SSH session, SSH back into the host, reporting via schema stored locally. Okay. Pass -t to SSH to allocate a PTY for full interactive functionality when running a command by suffixing, by appending, by a command on SSH. tbDEX after the host name. Okay, great. So okay, so modified .files for the host if tmux opens with errors, and copy paste errors into invalid. All right, so this is because tmux has different settings on different things, so we copy paste these errors. so actually we can just say cat temp invalid EOF. So when you put quotes around EOF, that says if anything in here has a $sign, don't substitute it with a variable. Otherwise, Bash will substitute it with a variable. So now we can just say, we can take this, we hit enter here, take that, we dump it to invalid, and then, okay, yeah, that's what that's telling us. And then, okay, so this gives us the this is the whole command here. Okay, so push up dot files for host. All right. Okay, so make modifications to tmux.conf to remove invalid options if this distro's version of tmux didn't understand them. Okay. Echo invalid. And then this wants you to change. Okay, so cd dash. All right, so this is trying to remove those lines. So if you find any of those lines, okay, I don't know what was supposed to happen there. It doesn't matter. We're only gonna start the launch tmux shell. Okay. All right. Let's just call this guy. It looks like it. Okay. Okay. All right, some of this is a little screwed up. Okay. Okay. That looks right. Okay. And we have SSH in, and now we're happy campers. Okay. So okay, so now what are we doing? We're spinning up tbDEX. Only SSI service. Do Docker compose up. Okay, so we have to install Docker. So we need to install Docker nginx Ubuntu. Okay, so we need to run these commands. Okay, so install Docker. Put the Docker link. Okay. So I'm just formatting their commands in the way that these are formatted. Oh no. Okay. Okay, so I forgot to do, apparently I have to add source. RC, I thought it did this. I thought this was a part of the install, but maybe not. All right, there we go. Okay. All these commands, so I'm gonna add the little I'm going to add the little ampersand at the end of each one. Oh, what's a pseudo password? Okay, we don't have a pseudo password. Sudo -i. Okay. Okay, so we don't have a pseudo password. So okay, so now we need to tmux a. Okay, so this one I'm going to do root. All right, so now I'm SSHing back in. Is root, and what am I saying? I'm saying sudo vi sudo. Let's see. You can see sudoers. Okay. tbDEX. So edit this file in place and do the sudo line here. We want it to be no password all. Right, so that way I don't have to type in the password because I don't have a password. So now we can use tmux a to get back in to our existing session there. All right, so now we can say sudo motherfucker. All right, so let me update the sudo docs here. So allow the user to use sudo. All right. All right, so I'm going to kill tmux here so that we can get a fresh one. And then when we log back in with the tmux, then now we should have a fresh session. So we should be able to do this command here. So I'm just pasting in these, right, some ampersands, where they all roll through. Okay, it's still asking me for my password. Okay. Okay, so it didn't edit the file. What the fuck? Maybe I need to escape that percent. Maybe that's a tab. So if it's a tab, it might be a tab and not spaces, and it's just encoding as spaces. So let's do tabs there. Let's see. sudo, there's a single character there, and then there's a space. So this is a tab and that's a space. Okay, so this is a space, this is a space, that's a tab. Okay, now it worked. All right, there we go. Now we got the sudo command. All right, so let's go back up here and update the docs while this thing runs. And what was that? It's here. Okay. So note that there is both a \t tab and a space. Okay. Great. So now sudo system control status docker. Okay, it's running. Let's do installing docker. Can we just do docker compose? Where will that install from? I'm worried. Hope the right place. Okay, so all right, so what Python version are we running? Okay, so Python 3. So if we, I think we can just do a Python 3-m pip install docker compose. Oh, fuck. No module named pip. Okay, so we need to do. Okay, so we have a few modifications here. Verify docker is running by querying system. Install docker compose. Okay. Okay. This should have said so. Here, as we go back, we notice that we did the setup of the tools here, Python 3. We also want Python 3 pip. And then we should really do update tools, Python package, core packages. Right, so this is our set of tools. Python 3-m pip install-u pip setup tools wheel. Right, so we always install these. We always update these after we do a Python installation. So first we need pip. That's packaged separately. and it needs to be done. Okay, so okay, this should probably be done here. We'll move these pseudos. Okay. Install, we verify it's running. Set the DAW files, we record the session. And then install the tools. We install Docker Compose. Okay, it looks like the path for Python is a problem, so config git. Script editor. Okay, so which is my path. Pip typically determine pip installed script path. Right, we want to know install location scripts. Okay, there's got to be something here. Okay, yeah, so this. Perfect. So this is okay. So now we Python. So we grab the location of the and then we so we grab the location of where it is, right? So add the pip installed scripts to the path. So echo path equals path Python ben on, or let's see, path on Python ben. Okay, so this should be okay. Let's actually do -e. let's see. Okay, so we have to, okay, so you can use, you just have to be consistent with your character here. So now, yeah, okay, so now we can say that, perfect. Okay, so now we can say, and then equals that home directory, and then echo path equals path. Okay. -a, -c. Okay, so that's what we want it to look like, the addition to the path there. Actually, let's make it an export. Okay, so find the location of the installed scripts directory. And replace the home variable with a variable. The home variable is the home literal with the home variable. Yeah, cp. Add the addition to the path to the rc file or profile. On some systems, on some distros. Source the file or execute the path addition to take effect to allow us to run Docker compotes. Okay, and how do we do that? Well, we just say echo, we just say path equals, we just do the unescaped form of this. It's just source bash rc. Let's see. Restart the shell. Changes and allows. Okay, so we'll just restart the shell. Right, so now we should say, if we echo path, we should see it in our path. We should now see it at the end of our path. See the directory containing Docker compose at the end of our path. Okay, so now we do this command here. So start the SSI service containers. Okay, so it's mad at us. Okay, because we're not on the Docker sock. So we need to do a sudo. Okay, so we need to do so add. So after we verify Docker is running, add the non-root user to the Docker group. Sometimes you have to create that group if it doesn't exist. And then if you haven't, so we're going to have to log in and log out again. Okay, so that looks like a new tmux session. Okay, so .ps. Okay, great. All right, so we're getting a build. All right, look at that. Is this okay? Okay, so what else can we do in the meantime? So create DID keys. Perfect. Actual schema. The rest of this is curl calls. Okay, looks like we got a status okay. Right, sweet. So these worked. All right, this looks like good stuff here. Okay, created a new key. It gives us the DID doc back. Let's actually get back. Make that a little. DID is key. These look like they're changing every time. Okay. Create two different keys. Okay. So just the public and the private. Okay, or wait, no, this is a different one. Okay. Okay, so we can retrieve the DID document by doing that. Okay. Great, so we got the DID back. Okay, so we can now create this verified credential schema. Okay, and we use the DID, which we just used there. Okay, created this email thing. All right, looks like that worked. All right, and this looks like, is this using the same key? This is looking DCR. Okay, this is using the same key. Just making sure we can do everything. Okay. I think we used this key last time. Okay, looks like that worked. So this is adding a postal street address. You can also issue a verified credential using an existing published schema. Okay, so this looks like what we want. So we want to create DIDs, and then we can issue a verified credential on them, and that way, I think, issuer subject. Okay, so we're doing a self-issued call here. So let's see what the output is. Okay, it's because of this quote right there. All right, so there we go. Okay, so we were able to issue a verifiable credential, and it matches the schema. Okay, great. So okay, so it looks like we can effectively encode arbitrary data via the verifiable credentials. So we're going to go ahead and use that to create our open architecture graphs, and then we'll use it for execution in the distributed environment. Okay, so and we've already done the encoding, so we're going to just dump shit in there. It's going to be ugly. But remember, we're going to dump a minimally encoded version, and I think, originally we were going to use the pure DIDs, but I'm not clear how that fits into the picture right now. So I think we're just going to issue verifiable credentials, which are data flows, which, yeah. So then we could have proper schema for them as well to match their manifest, right? And the manifest will tell us how to get the data that's off chain. Okay, because we'll execute it based on the sandbox defined by the orchestrator that's applicable to that context, or by the orchestrator given, right? Which we validate with our sandbox properties as we do execution based on these things that are going to be given to us via the distributed environment. Okay, so because we need to verify our chains of trust on things and whether we actually want to issue, so we might check for multiple verifiable credentials on something, right? And one of the verifiable credentials might actually be the thing that we're executing, and one of them might actually be a thing that says, yeah, we might be like the provenance information that tells us that we do actually want to be executing that other thing. That's just like brainstorming how we can use what I see here right now without, redoing more stuff because I thought it wasn't super clear. Okay, so run the tutorial. All right, we did it. Yes. Thank you, Frank. You rock. Okay, so what's the title of this video? Attempting tbDEX stack launch round 2. Hell yeah, or well. This is heaven, yeah, right here. All right, okay, so this doesn't have that on it. Okay, so this needs to be edited. Okay, so then let's say pop new shell, So So this is the command that does that. Substitution. Great. Okay, I think we did. I think we'll call this a video because we did what we were doing. So.